Have you ever received a short, blunt text message and suddenly felt your heart racing as if your life were in actual danger?
It's like a house fire in your chest on a perfectly... That's not you being dramatic, Alice. It's your body's internal smoke detector mistaking a minor social stress for a survival threat.
Today, we're diving into why you aren't broken. Those intense reactions you criticize, they're actually your body's way of being your most loyal, oldest protector.
Welcome to the debate. Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there's this expectation of total precision.
Right, it's very clinical.
Exactly. It's like engineering. You break your arm, the x-ray shows that jagged white line, and the doctor just points and says, there it is. It's binary. It's either broken or not broken.
Yeah, it's clean, which is comforting, We like things to be visible.
We really do. But then you step into the world of our everyday emotional lives, and suddenly that x-ray machine is completely useless.
The landscape is it's incredibly murky.
Oh, totally. It's not straightforward at all.
Right.
I'm talking about that deeply frustrating experience of having a reaction that feels way bigger than the situation itself. Like a wave of suffocating panic over an unanswered text message, or a sudden irrational burst of anger over some minor workplace miscommunication.
When someone gives you perfectly reasonable, constructive feedback and you just want to hide under your desk.
Yes, and historically, we've treated those reactions as personality flaws. We say people are just too sensitive or anxious, but looking through the lens of Bessel Kolk's work and The Body Keeps the Score, we see something else entirely. These intense reactions aren't character defects. They are unhealed experiences and old fears stored deep within the physical body.
The body remembers what the mind is desperately trying to forget.
Exactly. And that brings us to the core of where we diverge today. Because when we look at this epidemic of everyday struggles, the burnout, the constant anxiety, we have to ask what is actually driving it. So my position is this: our hyper-stimulating modern environment actively severs our mind-body connection, making emotional safety nearly impossible.
And I take a very different view. I argue that we unconsciously utilize the distractions of modern life as a protective shield, stubbornly repeating exhausting patterns because our nervous systems prioritize what is familiar over what is peaceful.
Right, so let's unpack that, because I want to ground this in reality. I think the environmental impact is just undeniable when you look at a typical Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, paint the picture for me.
Think about everyday triggers. You get a vague email from your boss that just says, "Can we chat later today?"
Oh, the absolute worst.
Right? But before your rational mind can even process the context, maybe they just want to discuss the holiday schedule, your stomach drops, your shoulders tense up, your breathing gets incredibly shallow.
Your heart is just racing.
Exactly. You are having a massive full-body threat response to a digital message. The material clearly shows us that small t trauma, things like emotional neglect or constantly needing approval to feel worthy, fundamentally shapes our body's baseline.
Yeah, the everyday paper cuts.
Right. And I believe our modern workplace and social environments are perfectly designed to exploit those exact vulnerabilities. The modern office mimics the very conditions that made us feel unsafe to begin with.
Okay, I'll give you that small t trauma sets the stage, and your body's physical reaction to that email, very real. A core principle here is that trauma is not what happened to you. It's what happened inside you because of what happened.
Which is a crucial distinction.
It is, but we have to look closer at why that survival script is running. Can someone have a seemingly good childhood and still carry this trauma? Absolutely. You can have a house in the suburbs and parents who paid for piano lessons.
But if your emotional reality was different.
Exactly. If your reality as a child was that you were only valued when you are quiet, high-achieving, and accommodating, your body learns a very specific lesson. It learns that asserting your needs or making a mistake is a literal threat to your survival.
Which perfectly explains why we judge ourselves so harshly for our anxiety. We just think we're being ridiculous.
Yes, but that perfectionism and people-pleasing, they are not just reactions to modern corporate pressures. They are deeply ingrained, brilliant protective responses designed to ensure you aren't abandoned.
So you're saying the environment isn't the trigger?
I'm saying when that boss sends that vague email, your stomach doesn't drop because of modern office culture. Your stomach drops because your nervous system is executing a survival script that kept you you safe when you were 7 years old. You are terrified of being cast out of the tribe.
Well, that's a fair diagnosis of the symptom, but I really think you're letting the environment off the hook here.
How so?
Yes, the survival script was written in childhood, but the modern environment is the treadmill that prevents us from ever stepping off and rewriting it. Society actively rewards that 7-year-old's terror.
I mean, we do love a workaholic.
We do. We promote the people pleaser. We give awards to the perfectionist who works through the weekend. Let's look at the paradox of rest and our urge to repeat patterns, especially with burnout.
Okay, let's talk about burnout.
We live in a culture that fundamentally does not know how to rest. Asking the modern worker to just relax and listen to their body, it's like asking an Olympic sprinter to instantly fall asleep while they are still running full speed on the track.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Right? You can't just tell a sprinter to sleep while they're running. Their system is flooded with adrenaline, their muscles are firing, and the same is true for the modern worker. Their cortisol levels are entirely out of sync with the physical reality of just sitting at a desk. The environment simply won't allow the deceleration required for the nervous system to heal.
Okay, but let me push back on that vivid metaphor for a second. What happens when you actually take that sprinter off the track?
What do you mean?
Let's talk about the phenomenon of the ruined weekend. What happens when the overworked, burned out, highly anxious person finally gets what you say they need? A stable, quiet, perfectly peaceful Saturday morning.
Well, they usually feel incredibly restless. They can't sit still.
It's way more than restless, though. They often feel a sudden, terrifying spike in anxiety. They sit on the couch, the house is quiet, and instead of feeling relief, their chest tightens. Suddenly, they feel an overwhelming urge to organize the entire garage.
Or they start a fight.
Yes, they look over at their partner and suddenly pick a fight over, like, how loudly they're chewing their cereal.
When the environment actually gets quiet, the body panics. The quiet is completely unfamiliar.
So you think they're manufacturing the stress? I think stillness leaves a vacuum, and in that vacuum, all that stored pain, the knots in the stomach, the old fears of not being good enough, they start bubbling up to the surface.
I've heard that framing, but I just don't buy that restless panic is proof the body inherently hates peace. It's a withdrawal symptom.
Withdrawal?
Yeah. When you pull someone out of a chronically stressful, chaotic environment, of course they panic initially. Their adrenaline has nowhere to go. It's like stopping a moving car too fast. There's going to be whiplash.
I disagree. I think treating it as just withdrawal completely misses the profound intelligence of the nervous system. We plunge right back into toxic productivity or relationship drama because the nervous system prefers the devil it knows.
So it's choosing the chaos?
Absolutely. It knows exactly how to survive a crisis. It has a whole toolkit for that, but it has absolutely no idea how to survive peace. Peace feels like a trap. If you are used to the other shoe dropping, quiet just means the danger is hiding. So we recreate the chaos ourselves to feel in control. Our internal compass is calibrated to chaos.
But look at the tools we use to avoid that peace, though. You're talking about this as if we are making an internal choice, but the external world is forcing a sensory blindfold on us.
A blindfold?
Yes. Let me ask you a direct question. When was the last time you or anyone you know noticed how your body felt before checking how your mind felt? When did you last notice the tension in your jaw before diving into a stream of information?
Oh, it's rare. I'll grant you that most people live entirely from the neck up.
Right, because our constant digital stimulation demands it. We are living in a modern society that demands we exist entirely in our thoughts. Think about the way we socialize through screens or track our sleep with data rather than feeling if we are actually rested.
We do love our metrics.
We are completely severed from the neck down. We ignore the exhaustion behind our eyes, the tightness in our chest, because our environment rewards us for staying in our heads. We are disconnected from our bodies because modern technology requires that disconnection to function.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. You're framing the phone and the culture as this malicious blindfold forced upon us. I view the phone as a highly effective, self-administered anesthetic.
You really think this mass distraction is intentional?
Unconsciously, yes. Think about revenge bedtime procrastination. People staying up until 2 a.m. scrolling through videos they don't even care about. Why do they do that?
Because the algorithms are designed to keep them there.
No, they do it exactly because the body is constantly talking to them. And listening to it, actually turning off the screen and closing their eyes, means feeling the heartbreak, the gut-wrenching anxiety, the loneliness stored in their tissues. The phone is just the modern pacifier for an ancient biological urge to numb out.
So you see the technology is just a convenient symptom.
Completely. If you take the phone away without helping the person tolerate the terrifying physical sensations in their own body, they will just just find another way to numb out. Alcohol, overeating, overworking. The modern world isn't disconnecting us. It's just providing a very convenient menu of options for us to execute the disconnection our bodies are actively begging for.
But if the world is providing an all-you-can-eat buffet of numbing agents, how do we ever find our way out? Because if the body remembers what the mind tries to forget, then healing has to begin when the body finally learns that the danger has passed.
Right.
And I firmly believe that to do this, we must consciously cultivate environments of emotional safety in our everyday external lives.
How so? What does that look like?
We have to change our external boundaries. We have to curate relationships where we are seen and heard, not managed. We have to change the way we interact with our workplaces. You cannot convince your body that the danger is over if you are continuously living in an environment that simulates constant threat.
Well, sure, if you're actively in danger.
Right, like if your boss is allowed to text you at 10 p.m., your nervous system is essentially sleeping with one eye open. You have to erect an external perimeter of safety so the body can finally exhale. Only then can you start processing why you were so tense in the first place.
Look, I absolutely agree that safety is the foundation of healing. You can't heal while you're being chased by a bear. But I caution against the idea that simply changing the external environment will magically bring peace.
Why not, if the threat is gone?
Because you can quit the stressful job, you can leave the demanding relationship, you can move to a quiet cabin in the woods, and your nervous system will pack its bags and move right there with you.
Because the internal alarm bells are still ringing.
Exactly. And this is where we have to look at the physical reality of what setting a boundary actually feels like to someone with stored trauma. You say we need to erect perimeter of safety, but setting those external boundaries requires a nervous system that already feels worthy of safety.
That's a good point.
If your small t trauma taught you that setting a boundary means you will be abandoned, your body will experience the simple act of saying no as a life or death threat.
It feels physically dangerous to them.
It is terrifying. Think about someone trying to send a text message to a partner saying, "That comment hurt my feelings," or typing an email to a boss saying, "I can't take on this extra project." Their hands might literally shake. They freeze.
They'll type it, delete it, and end up apologizing.
Exactly. You cannot just tell someone to set boundaries when their body thinks a boundary equals death. You have to start by noticing the physical sensation of terror in your body when you even think about setting the boundary. You have to bring immense self-compassion to that feeling.
Which brings up the profound paradox of this whole discussion. We need to feel safe to set boundaries, but we need boundaries to feel safe.
It's a tough cycle.
It is, but I still maintain that without modifying the crushing weight of our modern social structures, that internal work is almost impossible. We are social mammals. We require reciprocity to regulate our own nervous systems. If you are in an environment where your emotions are constantly invalidated, no amount of internal self-compassion is going to convince your nervous system to stand down.
But if you don't start with the internal compassion, you will unconsciously seek out partners who invalidate you because it feels familiar. You have to befriend the sensations in your body before you can sustain a changed life.
You really think the internal has to come first?
I do. Because there is a crucial insight here. You cannot heal a nervous system through self-criticism. We look at our people-pleasing, our doom scrolling, and we get so angry at ourselves. We think we are broken. We must first look at our perfectionism and say, maybe I'm not broken. Maybe my body has been protecting me all along.
That is a deeply clarifying point, and it leads us to a realization that I think we completely converge on. When we shift from looking at the environment to looking at the internal response, the shame really dissipates.
Completely.
The reactions that listeners so often hate about themselves, the irrational anxiety, freezing up during an argument, the urge to fix a partner's bad mood, these are not character flaws.
No, they aren't. They are profound, intelligent, and incredibly loyal attempts by your body to keep you safe based on old information. It's just using an outdated map.
We certainly have an area of continued tension in how to draw a new map, though. I still maintain that we must first change our overstimulating modern environments. We need to physically unplug to allow the body the room to feel safe.
And I maintain that the environment is secondary. We must first gently rewire our internal tolerance for safety. Because until we do, our nervous systems will reject the very peace we claim to want. We'll just turn that quiet cabin into a new source of panic.
But regardless of whether the intervention starts from the outside in or the inside out, there is immense value in looking at our everyday anxieties through this lens. When you understand that the knot in your stomach is a protective shield, not a weakness, it changes everything.
It really does. Healing isn't about becoming someone better. It's simply teaching your body step by step that the danger is finally over.
You started this discussion by comparing emotional reactions to an X-ray. You look at an X-ray to find what's flawed, what needs to be fixed. But when you look at the human nervous system through the lens we've discussed today, whether you're looking at someone who can't stop working or someone who panics over a text message, you aren't looking at something that is broken.
You are looking at an organism that is adapted brilliantly to survive.
Precisely. And that is the empowering thought we want to leave you with today. The reactions you judge yourself for are not your identity. Your anxiety, your urge to run away, they are not who you are. They are signals. They are echoes of a body that has worked incredibly hard to keep you alive. And signals can be understood.